Good morning. Today we are going to learn the second lesson of the Latin language. Today we are going to go through the verbs. So, Latin, the lesson 2. Okay, verbs. Verbs. This word comes from Latin, verbum, which means word. A verb describes the subject's activity or state of being. A verb is the most important part of a sentence. And in Latin language, a verb have 5 characteristics. Which are person. Person describes who is the subject. Who performs the action. So we have the first person singular or plural, second person singular or plural, third person singular or plural. And we have, this is person, and we have number. Number of a verb, it means how many subjects do we have? How many subjects? And the third is tense. Tense means, in Latin, it means tempus, which means time. So the tense means the action, the time of the action. And we have the mood. Mood means the manner. The manner of indicating the action or state of being of the verb. And voice. Voice means it describes an action. A verb is active or passive. Very simple. And let's take a look at the tense. We have 6 tenses in Latin, which are present, future, imperfect, perfect, or future. This perfect, we also can call it present perfect, because you will see we also have the future perfect and pluperfect, or we can call it past perfect. The present is easy, which means the action is happening now. The future means the action is gonna happen or will happen in future. Imperfect means the action happened in the past, but the action is not finished, or it has little connection to the present. The perfect means this action, we just finished the action. It emphasizes the action, not the state of being. And the tense, we don't have to go further to go into the details of the tenses. You only need to know there are 6 tenses, and you only need to know there are present, future, imperfect, perfect, future perfect, plural-perfect. That's it. And let's go through another. So we have talked about the 5 characteristics of a verb. So every time you see a verb, you need to ask yourself these 5 questions. What is the person? What is the number? What is the tense? What is the mood? And what is the voice? If you know all these 5 characteristics, then you can go to conjugate a verb. This is our first, and the second part is conjugation. To conjugate a verb, this verb derived from Latin. In Latin it is coniugare, which means join together. To conjugate a verb means to list or write down all its forms according to the 5 characteristics. Let's look at the following example of an English verb. To praise. This verb, we can conjugate this. We conjugate this like this. First person. First, we have to write this form. We can singular, first person, plural. Second person, singular. Second person, plural. Third person, singular. In English, the first person singular is I. The first person plural is we. The second person singular is you, right? And the second person plural is you too. And the third person singular is he, she, it. And the third person plural is thee. Then we can praise. In English, we only need to conjugate the third person singular because it remains the same here. The first person, we write it here. The first person singular, I praise. We praise you, singular. Praise you, plural. Praise he, she, it. Praises. Look at here. Here is the trick. They praise. As you can see in English, normally we only need to conjugate the third person plural. It means only in the third person singular you can identify the verb without the help of the pronouns. If you say I pray, if you don't use the I or we, you cannot know the person. But in this situation, if you omit the pronoun of this situation, the third person singular, you can still know it's the third person because it has these endings s. So it means in English, we can accomplish only one of 6 forms. But in Latin, we can do all 6 forms by adding the personal endings. So we can distinguish, we can indicate distinctly the person, the number, the voice of the verb. And you may ask, we can identify the person, the number, and the voice by the endings. So we can hear by ending. By ending. By ending. And this tense and mood, you cannot identify or indicate the tense or the mood of a verb from its ending, from ending of a verb. Then how can we identify it? We can identify it by the stem of a verb. So we know a verb has 2 parts. Each Latin verb is composed by 2 parts, stem or root and ending. Okay. Let's take an example. Let's take a verb laudare. Laudare is a verb, it means the praise. This laudare, this laud, this lauda is the stem of the verb. And this re is the ending. So if the stem means it will not change through your conjugation. Okay, this is the lesson for today. See you next time.